Alright guys, so as promised, we will be getting rid of this, right? So, okay, you know what, let's get rid of this as well. So, I'll get rid of this. So, in this lecture, we'll be writing a function to see if a candlestick or pattern is a bullish engulfing candle, right? So now the question is, what is a bullish engulfing candle? In the case where you are new to trading generally, what is a bullish engulfing candle? So you can simply make a research. So it won't be as if I'm making this up. Basically, an engulfing candle is in two forms, either a bullish one or a bearish one. So you know what? Let's start with the bullish one. Then you can go ahead and create the bearish form from your hand. So let's just make research on bullish. So we can say bullish engulfing candle, right? And if you have to go for image, you can read this. You can read this overview, and or go for whatever result that comes under the Investopedia. I think Investopedia is a trustworthy trustworthy, and also you can read the one from Baby Peeps. You know, I recognize those guys, so I'm very sure they will give you something meaningful. So you know what, let's just choose this. So I would like to open it on a new tab so that you'll be able to see properly. So now this is an engulfing candle. First thing first, we have a bullish engulfing candle and we have a bearish engulfing candle. But in this lecture, we'll be focusing on bullish engulfing candle. And a bullish engulfing candle is made up of two candles sitting side by side each other. And the candle on the right hand side of between the two candles is a bullish one. That means the close of the candle is above the opening, and the second candle, which is the one on the left hand side, is a bearish candle, meaning the close of the candle is below the opening of that candle, right? So it is as simple as that. Then other condition to verify if a candle is bullish engulfing pattern is that the bullish candle, which is this candle, the one on the right, must close above the previous open, and the bullish candle must open at or below the previous candle's close, right? You can see the visual. Also, the length of this candle, must engulf, must overshadow the previous candle's length, right? Just like this. So this is what an engulfing candle is. That means the candle on the right hand side must cover or must shadow or block the view of the previous candle, which is the red one, right? And if you are to see a live or similar case, because that is just the textbook definition. So, for example, you will notice this candle is engulfing this, and this candle is a bullish candle, and this candle is a bearish candle. Also, the close of this candle is higher than the open of this candle, and the open of this candle is lower or equal to the close of this candle, right? And of course, it is obviously engulfing the other candle. So that is the way we define our function. So let's quickly go back and we define our function. So now we want to know if a candle is bullish or not. So automatically we are returning a boolean, right? So we can simply say boolean, and we can say is bullish engulfing candle. You know, whatever name you can think of, engulfing candle. So right? So now, what argument are we going to be accepting? We are going to be accepting just one, which is the index of the candle we want to focus on. So we can simply say shift, right? Then this. So what are the data we need to know if that particular candle we want to focus on, which is the shift specified, is an engulfing candle? First thing first, we need to get the close of that particular candle, that shift. So we can say close, right? So I'm very sure you know how to do this, right? So this period, and you can specify that shift, right? Then we need to know the open of that candle, the opening price of that candle. So we can say this. So this period and shift, right? Now, this is just for the candle on the right hand side. We also need to get these details, these same details for the candle on the left hand side. So we can simply say close to, close, right? For this, then this shift plus 1, right? Then we can say, open to, which is the candle on the left hand side. So we can do this, period of this shift plus 1, right? So it is as simple as that. Now we can simply say, let's go back to the picture. We want to make sure that this is bullish and this is bearish, which means return if this candle, which is the close of this candle, is above the open, meaning is it bullish? Also, confirm that the previous candle, which is the one on the left hand side, is bearish, right? Also, let's go back to the picture. We want to make sure that this candle, which is the bullish candle, the candle on the right hand side, closes above the open, right? So we want to make sure that this close is above the open of the previous candle, right? Then what else? We want to make sure that this candle, which is the bullish candle, open below or equal to the close of this previous candle. So we can say this candle open is lower or equal to the close of this candle, right? Then one last thing, we want to make sure that this candle's body, this candle engulfs, this candle have a bigger body, right? So how do we know if it have a bigger body? There are different ways to know if it have a bigger body. So we can judge from the from the length, which is the difference between the height and the low of the candle. We can judge using the opening and the close of the body. So we can simply say, let's get the body. We can say body. So we can say the difference between the close and open. That is the body for the first candle. And for body 2, which is the body for candle on the left, is also the difference between the open and the close. So you'll be wondering why I said close minus open and open minus close. And of course, it is, I believe you should understand that since we are expecting this to be a bullish candle, so that means the close should be higher than the open. So this will return a positive number. And since we are expecting this to be a bearish candle, so we are expecting this number, this value, or this open price to be higher than this close price so that we can get a positive number. So that is the reason why I said open 2 minus close 2. Also, a way to do this is we can simply call a function which is math absolute. When I was introducing you to math function, an inbuilt function. So I said that there's a function, just like when we were reading through the documentation, we said there is a function we can simply write. So another way to do this is by saying math app. So basically because I have this comment, that is why I'm not able to get the tip, but for your sake, I will remove it for now. So when you write math app, so it takes in one values. So the value we want is the difference between the close and the open. So we can simply say close minus the open. So whatever result you are getting when you do this arithmetic operation, return the body. So that is what you are trying to do. So in this case, we do not need to say this first before the other. So you can simply say, so let me just take this out. We can simply say here, we can say close 2 minus open 2, and it is going to give us same thing. It's going to give us a positive number. So but to so that you can understand better, so I'll just maintain this. So I will not introduce you to math app for now. So let's just leave this out. Then, like I said, we are interested in knowing that is this body higher than the previous candle's body? And that is what we need. So let's quickly recap. So we want to be sure that this candle, the candle on the right hand side, is a bullish candle. So the close is higher than the open price. Then we want to be sure that the close of the previous candle, which is the candle on the left hand side, is lower than the opening of that same candle, meaning it's a bearish candle. Then we want to be sure that the close of this candle, of the candle on the right hand side, is above the opening of the previous candle, the candle beside it. Then we want to be sure that the opening of that bullish candle, which is the candle on the right hand side, is lower or equal to the close of the previous candle's close. Then we want to be sure that the candle on the right hand side have a bigger body than the one on the left hand side, right? That's simply the way to know if a candle is a bullish engulfing candle or not. So we can simply copy this. So instead of saying let's just return true or false, so you can just we can just store this and say is bullish. Is bullish. Is engulf. or whatever name, engulfs, let's just say engulfs, then we can say of what index. Let's start with index 1. So we can simply say, we can always alert this out like that. We can simply alert true or false, but of course we are more than that. We now know better. So we can simply say if this returns true, if this returns true, right? We want to say it's an engulfing candle. We want to say this is is a bullish engulfing candle. Is a bullish engulfing candle, right? So this, and in the case where this is false, we can say it is not a bullish engulfing candle. It is not a bullish engulfing candle. Okay, it is a bullish engulfing candle. So another thing we can do is we can take this, what index do we want to work with? We can take it as a parameter. So instead of having to come back to this, so we can just say, let's just have this shift. Okay, let's not have it as shift. We can say index. So here, I want to have it as an input. So I'll say it is an integer, and this is the name, index, and by default it will be 1. So I can just call it shift in here. So then let's not forget to put this, so it allows to take in an input. So I'll just save and I'll compile. Let's make sure that we do not have any error. Of course, we do not have any error. So now let me launch this. So by default, we will be on index 1. So let's quickly try that. It's telling us that it is not a bullish engulfing candle. So what, let's target this particular candle. So let's see what index it is. So we can activate this crosshair. Then I'll start here. I can either count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Or I can say, I can just click on this, then drag to the candle, so that the first number that this information indicates, indicate the index of the candle, right? So we are on index 4. So let's quickly go back. Then we launch. We can now specify index 4, right? Then if I say okay, let's see. So you can see it is telling me that yes, it is a bullish engulfing candle, and of course it is a bullish engulfing candle. So let's see. Okay, let's see if we can get another candle that is bullish engulfing. Okay, I don't think we have anyone close. So okay, maybe we can check from the second. Okay, you can see this is also a bullish engulfing candle. So let's see what index this is. So this is on index 9. So let's try to run this on our, so I'll give it index 9. I'll say okay. Can see yes, it is a bullish engulfing candle. So what, let's give it another, maybe just a random shift of, for this we will be saying index 11. So you can see it is telling us that it is not a bullish engulfing candle. So let's confirm that the candle on index 11 is not a bullish. Okay, this is the candle on index 11, and of course it is obviously not a bullish candle because this is a bearish candle and this is a bearish candle. But a bullish candle is when we have a bullish candle and we have a bearish candle beside it on the left, and of course it engulfs the bearish candle. So that is simply a bullish candle. So that means our function is working properly. So now what I want you to do from your end before moving to the next lecture is that I want you to write a function that checks if a candle is a bearish engulfing candle. You go back and make your research, bearish engulfing candle. So since I used something like this, that means something from these guys, you can also use this so that it will match with this. So you can just use this information to determine if a candle is a bearish engulfing candlestick. And so after doing that, you can move on to the next lecture so that we write more functions. So I'll see you on the next lecture.